Good Tuesday afternoon, friends. I'm meteorologist Tim Pandages here with your tropical update. We've got three systems we're watching across two basins: Hurricane Danielle, Tropical Storm Earl, and Hurricane K in the eastern Pacific. Today is September 6th, 2022. All right, so here's the season so far as we summarize today's outlook by the numbers. 4 areas to monitor in the Atlantic Basin alone. We are 4 days out from the peak of the season on September the 10th. There have been 5 named storms so far this season in the Atlantic Basin. We're up to Earl, which is still out there right now. And there are 85 days left in the 2022 Atlantic season. It goes all the way to November 30th. All right, let's start things off with Earl. That's moving to the north now at 5 miles per hour. It is well north of Puerto Rico, not currently near any land masses, but it is strengthening. Hurricane Hunter aircraft is out in the storm right now, and they have shown a lower pressure, meaning intensification, and also some stronger winds. So it's borderline to that upgrade of likely being a hurricane, despite ongoing moderate to even strong wind shear out there that has tilted the system for the past few days and prevented it from really intensifying much. We've still got that wind shear now coming out of the west-southwest, and that's working to offset a lot of the convection or thunderstorm activity from its center, although it is starting to look like it's standing up straighter. It's more vertically aligned, and this is likely helping it to start to intensify and make its way to hurricane status. Here's the most recent mission, currently still in the storm as of the recording of this video. Hurricane Hunter aircraft staged out of the U.S. Virgin Islands, flying into the storm. Surface pressure down to 992, so coming off the 10 a.m. advisory, it has dropped 4 millibars. And the wind speed, just under 60 miles per hour, but there have been some stronger winds recorded in that northeast quadrant, the strongest side of the storm, of winds close to hurricane force. Here's how it looks on visible satellite imagery. Do you notice yesterday, if you remember, if you watched yesterday's video, I was showing you how the low-level center was exposed from that wind shear. You could see all of that convection that was offset off to the east. Not so much seeing that this time around. Certainly a little bit of that exposure off on the western side, but not nearly as much as yesterday. That's another signal that this is standing up and more vertically aligned and ventilating a little bit better than it was, despite not much change in the overall wind shear environment right now. Now, it is forecast to strengthen even more, getting up to a Category 2 hurricane, and if that's even low on the low end right now. It could be a Category 3 hurricane, major hurricane. And there's Bermuda passing likely to the east of there. Now that's good news for Bermuda because it'll likely be on the clean side of the storm. Usually we say the east side of the storm center is going to be the dirty side. There's the strongest winds, the storm surge potential there, and also the heaviest of the rain. On the clean side of things here in Bermuda, you'll still likely see some gusty winds, but likely missing out on the main impacts from the system as it cruises out into the open Atlantic and maintains pretty significant intensities for this far north, like we just saw with Danielle, because the warm ocean waters are extending to such a high latitude, unusual for this time of the year. Probability of Bermuda seeing at least tropical storm force winds, so 39 miles per hour or greater, are pretty high. We're up to around 60 to 70% chance of getting those wind gusts. Again, they'll be coming likely out of the northeast as that storm center will be off to the east, so we get that wrap-around fetch along that system there. And now we've got Hurricane Danielle. This is still prevalent in the North Atlantic. Look at its locations, latitude 42 degrees north. It is very far to the north and out in the middle of the Atlantic, so not affecting anybody. Still a Category 1 hurricane. Winds just barely at that status, 75 miles per hour to be a Category 1. And still overall, it's a very photogenic system. It still looks like a bona fide hurricane despite being so far to the north. You can still see that eye trying to clear on out, and it has moved away from the warm, energy-rich waters that it needs to sustain itself. 80 degrees or warmer. That's everything shaded in red here. It is far to the north of there now, and heading even into cooler ocean water. So a general degradation of intensity is forecast here in the future. Here it is at a Cat 1 now, maintaining a Cat 1 right up through Wednesday evening, and then it drops to tropical storm, and then it kind of meanders here and then drops its way back to the south and west. At that point, Sunday morning, we're at 45 mile per hour winds, but still nowhere near any land. Now, there are 2 other areas of interest that we're watching right now. Nothing that's been tagged as an investigative area just yet. That's likely coming, though, for this wave here that's just to the southwest of the Cabo Verde Islands. Within 5 days, it's got a 60% moderate chances of developing and getting a name. Another wave that is yet to exit the African continent. Once it does, we'll start to see development odds going up. But right now, within 5 days, that stands at around 20% odds. Next two names on our list are going to be Fiona and Gaston. If those two areas of interest do in fact develop, they'll get those names. But the wave out there right now, which will likely be an investigative area soon, is way far away from land, so it's about 10 to 12 days from reaching land if in fact it was heading in that direction. You can see that forecast cone area takes it in a similar track to what Earl did and looping it out to sea even farther to the east of Bermuda from what Earl is forecast to do. All right, now let's jump over to the Eastern Pacific. We've got a brand new hurricane there, that's K, and this is a Category 1 at the moment, but it's climbing, it's intensifying. 85-mile-per-hour winds moving to the northwest at 14 miles per hour, and as this tracks farther to the north, it's expected to also become a major hurricane, a Category 3 with 115-mile-per-hour winds by Wednesday evening. After that, it weakens dramatically because it's moving out of the warm ocean waters. 80 degrees or warmer here as it peaks intensity at Category 3, drops down to a tropical storm by Friday morning. And notice at the top of the map here, that's Southern California. Definitely some of that tropical moisture will make its way into Southern California. Modeling here shows San Diego area could potentially see 1, 2, 3 inches of rain. That's a lot of rain for these areas, and welcome, because the drought situation there is a severe drought for the entire area, even worse the farther north you get of Los Angeles. So if we get some of that moisture up there, that would be even more beneficial. So that's something to watch with some tropical impacts in the United States in a place you don't normally expect to see it. Until next time, the latest updates for you coming up on social media. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and also on TikTok. We'll see you again tomorrow.